Hello everyone, I'm Anu, an engineer and a law graduate, and welcome to my channel where law meets logic and learning becomes easy. Welcome back to part 4 of our Family Law 1 Hindu Law series. In this video, we'll be diving deeper into two powerful legal tools that play a crucial role in protecting our environment in India. General rules of succession of male and female Hindus dying intestate. What is the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956? Who is a minor and what are the types and powers of guardians? Discuss the rights, liabilities, and responsibilities of guardians under Hindu law regarding the property and welfare of minors. Whether you're preparing for exams or just eager to understand how the law empowers citizens and authorities to fight pollution and safeguard nature, you're in the right place. Let's continue where we left off. Question 9. General rules of succession of male and female Hindus dying intestate. Introduction. When a Hindu dies without making a will, the property left behind is distributed according to the rules of intestate succession as outlined in the Hindu Succession Act 1956. The Act provides different rules for male and female Hindus based on the traditional understanding of family structure and inheritance. Understanding these rules is important because they determine who inherits the deceased person's property and in what proportion. Let us study these general rules in detail, dividing the answer into two main parts. General rules of succession in case of male Hindus dying intestate. General rules of succession in case of female Hindus dying intestate. 1. General rules of succession for a male Hindu dying intestate. When a male Hindu dies without making a will, the order of succession is determined by Section 8 to Section 13 of the Hindu Succession Act. Section 8. Order of succession. The property of a male Hindu dying intestate devolves in the following order. First, Class 1 heirs. Second, Class 2 heirs. Third, agnates. Fourth, cognates. Class 1 heirs first preference. Class I heirs are given the highest priority and inherit simultaneously and equally. They include son, daughter, widow, mother, son, daughter of a predeceased son or daughter, widow of a predeceased son, son, daughter of a predeceased daughter, widow of a predeceased son of a predeceased son. Example, if a man dies leaving behind a wife, mother, and 2 children, each of them will get an equal share in his property. Case law, Gurunath Manohar v. Savitribai, 2010, held that children born from a void or voidable marriage are also entitled to inherit as Class 1 heirs of their parents. Class 2 heirs, if no Class 1 heirs. If there are no Class 1 heirs, the property goes to Class 2 heirs in the following order. I father, 2 brother sister, 3 brother's son, brother's daughter, sister's son, sister's daughter, and so on. Each group is considered only if no heir exists in the previous group. Agnates, third preference. If there are no Class 1 or Class 2 heirs, the property devolves on agnates. An agnate is a person related to the deceased only through male lineage, e.g., father's brother's son. Cognates, fourth preference. If there are no agnates, the property goes to cognates, i.e., relatives who are related through female lineage, e.g., mother's brother's daughter. Disqualification from inheritance. Under Section 25.28, a person can be disqualified from inheriting property in the following cases. Murderer of the deceased, convert who renounced Hinduism, but not their descendants. Persons born from incestuous or adulterous relationships, unless legitimized. Doctrine of escheat, if no heirs. If no legal heirs exist, the property of the deceased escheats to the government under Section 29 of the Act. 2. General rules of succession for a female Hindu dying intestate. The rules for a female Hindu dying intestate are outlined in Section 15 and Section 16 of the Hindu Succession Act. These rules are different and based on the source of the property. Section 15. Order of succession for female Hindus. If a female Hindu dies intestate, her property devolves in the following order. First, sons, daughters, including children of any predeceased son or daughter, and husband. Second, heirs of the husband. Third, her parents. Fourth, heirs of the father. Fifth, heirs of the mother. Key rule, source of property. If the woman inherited property from her father or mother and dies without children, the property goes back to the father's heirs. If she inherited property from her husband or in-laws and dies without children, it goes to her husband's heirs. Case law, Om Prakash v. Radhacharan, 2009. Supreme Court held that if a female Hindu dies without any children, the property inherited from her husband will go to her husband's heirs and not to her parents. Section 16. Rules for succession among heirs. Among the heirs listed above, the property is inherited simultaneously and equally by all heirs in the same category. If no one exists in one category, only then it moves to the next. Example: suppose a woman dies intestate leaving behind a husband, no children, her father. In this case, the property will first go to the husband. Her father will only inherit if the husband had also predeceased her and there are no children. Recent legal developments in gender equality. The 2005 amendment to the Hindu Succession Act gave daughters equal co-parcenary rights, making them Class 1 heirs. However, in the case of female succession, the focus on the source of property remains unchanged, which some scholars argue is outdated and patriarchal. Conclusion: the Hindu Succession Act 1956 provides a clear structure for how property is inherited when a Hindu dies without making a will. The rules for male and female succession are different, especially in the way the source of property is considered for female Hindus. With progressive amendments and judgments like Vinita Sharma and Om Prakash, the law is gradually evolving toward gender equality, but certain traditional elements remain embedded. Understanding these rules is essential for lawyers, students, and families alike to ensure lawful and fair distribution of property. 10. What is the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956? Who is a minor and what are the types and powers of guardians? Introduction. The Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956 is an important legislation under Hindu personal law that deals with the guardianship and protection of minors. It complements the Guardians and Wards Act 1890 and applies specifically to Hindus. This act outlines who is a minor, who can be a guardian, and what powers and responsibilities a guardian has regarding the minor's person and property. Who is a minor under Hindu law? According to Section 40A of the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956, a minor is a person who has not completed the age of 18 years. Example: a 16-year-old Hindu boy is a minor under this act. However, if a minor is under the supervision of a court-appointed guardian, then the age of majority becomes 21 years as per the Indian Majority Act 1875. Who is a guardian? A guardian is someone who is legally responsible for taking care of a minor child, managing their well-being, education, upbringing, and property. The guardian ensures the child's safety and acts in the child's best interest. According to Section 4B of the Act, a guardian means a person having the care of the person of a minor or of his property or of both. Types of guardians under Hindu law. The Act recognizes 3 types of guardians. 1. Natural guardians. These are guardians by virtue of their relationship with the minor. Father is the natural guardian of a minor boy or unmarried girl. After the father, the mother is the natural guardian. For a minor married girl, the husband is the natural guardian. Section 6 of the Act deals with natural guardianship. Case law Gita Hariharan v. Reserve Bank of India, 1999. Supreme Court held that the mother can also act as a natural guardian even when the father is alive, if the father is not acting in the child's best interest. 2. Testamentary guardians. These are guardians appointed through a will by the natural guardian. A father can appoint a guardian by will for his minor legitimate children. After the father's death, if he has not appointed one, the mother can also appoint a testamentary guardian. Example: if a father dies and had appointed his brother to be the guardian of his children through a will, that uncle becomes the testamentary guardian. 3. Guardians appointed by the court, guardian under GWA 1890. If no natural or testamentary guardian is available or suitable, a civil court can appoint a guardian under the Guardians and Wards Act 1890. The court considers the welfare of the child as the paramount concern, Section 13 of the Act. Anyone, even a stranger or relative, may be appointed if it is in the child's best interest. Case law, Rosie Jacob v. Jacob A. Chakramakal, 1973. Supreme Court emphasized that the welfare of the minor is the paramount consideration for appointing a guardian. Powers of guardians. Guardians have various powers depending on the type of guardianship, whether it's related to the person or the property of the minor. 1. Powers regarding person of the minor. A guardian of the person of the minor is responsible for Custody and day-to-day care. Education and upbringing. Marriage in appropriate circumstances, though child marriage is now prohibited. Medical decisions. They must act in the best interests of the minor at all times. 2. Powers regarding property of the minor. A guardian of the property of the minor has limited powers. These are defined under Section 8 of the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act. The guardian cannot, without the court's prior permission, sell, mortgage, lease, or transfer any part of the minor's immovable property. Enter into any contract that may affect the minor's future interests. If a guardian violates these restrictions, the transaction may be declared voidable at the instance of the minor after attaining majority. Example: if a guardian sells the minor's land without court permission, the sale can be cancelled later by the minor when they become an adult. Case law, Manikchandra v. Ramchandra, 1979. The guardian's sale of minor's property without permission was set aside by the court. Rights and duties of guardians. Duties: must act honestly and in the minor's best interest, cannot misuse the property or income of the minor, must keep the minor's property separate from their own, required to maintain accounts of all income and expenses. Rights: can take necessary decisions for minor's education, health, and welfare, can claim reimbursement for reasonable expenses, can represent the minor in legal proceedings. Disqualification from guardianship. A person may be disqualified from being a guardian if they have bad character or criminal background, have conflict of interest with the minor, are involved in legal disputes with the minor's family, are mentally unstable or otherwise unfit. Case law, Shaleen Kabra versus Shivani Kabra, 2012. Court denied custody to a parent who could not provide a stable and emotionally secure environment for the child. Welfare of the minor is supreme. The welfare of the child is the paramount consideration in all decisions about guardianship as per Section 13 of the Act. This includes moral and ethical welfare, education and development, emotional and psychological well-being. Applicability of the Act. This Act applies to Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs. Anyone who is not a Muslim, Christian, Parsi, or Jew unless governed by Hindu law. Conclusion. The Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956 plays a crucial role in safeguarding the interests of minors. It clearly defines who a minor is, who can be their guardian, and what powers and responsibilities those guardians have. At the heart of the Act is the principle that the welfare of the minor is of utmost importance. By balancing parental authority with legal safeguards, the Act ensures that children are protected, cared for, and not exploited. Question 10. Discuss the rights, liabilities, and responsibilities of guardians under Hindu law regarding the property and welfare of minors. Introduction. Under Hindu law, the role of a guardian is essential in ensuring the welfare and protection of a minor's person and property. The Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956 is the principal legislation that governs guardianship among Hindus. It outlines who can be a guardian, what duties they must fulfill, what powers they hold, and the liabilities they may incur. The guiding principle across all decisions is the welfare of the minor, as laid down in Section 13 of the Act. Let's explore in detail the rights, liabilities, and responsibilities of guardians under Hindu law. 1. Who is a guardian under Hindu law? A guardian is a person who is legally appointed to take care of the person or property, or both, of a minor. Under Hindu law, guardians are of three types: natural guardian, father, then mother, for minors, and in case of married girls, the husband, though now largely obsolete. Testamentary guardian, appointed through a will, guardian appointed by court, under the Guardians and Wards Act 1890, if no suitable natural or testamentary guardian exists. 2. Rights of a guardian. A guardian enjoys specific rights to enable them to act effectively in the best interests of the minor. A. Right to custody and care. A natural guardian has the primary right of custody over the minor child. This includes decisions related to education, health, religion, and overall welfare. Case Geeta Hariharan v. Reserve Bank of India, 1999. Supreme Court held that the mother can act as a natural guardian even during the father's lifetime if the father fails in his duties. B. Right to represent the minor. The guardian can represent the minor in legal proceedings, contracts, and transactions. The minor's rights and liabilities in court are exercised through the guardian. C. Right to manage property. The guardian may manage the minor's movable and immovable property, though this power is restricted. They can collect rents, use income for the child's needs, and maintain accounts. D. Right to reimbursement. Guardians can claim reasonable expenses incurred in the discharge of their responsibilities. E. Right to make decisions. The guardian may decide matters such as school admissions, medical treatment, and religious activities. 3. Responsibilities and duties of guardians. The Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act imposes important duties to ensure the child's best interests are prioritized. A. Duty to act in the minor's best interests. Guardians must always act honestly, prudently, and diligently for the welfare of the child. B. Duty not to alienate property without permission. Under Section 8 of the Act, a guardian cannot sell, mortgage, or lease the minor's immovable property without prior court approval. Case Manik Chandra vs. Ram Chandra, 1979. Sale of minor's property without court approval was declared voidable. See duty to maintain and educate the minor. Guardians must provide for the food, shelter, education, health care, and moral upbringing of the minor. D. Duty to maintain separate accounts. Guardians must keep detailed records and accounts of the income and expenditure concerning the minor's assets. E. Duty to avoid conflicts of interest. Guardians must avoid using the minor's property for personal gain or entering into contracts that create a conflict of interest. 4. Liabilities of guardians. If a guardian acts negligently, dishonestly, or beyond their authority, they may face legal consequences. A. Personal liability for losses. If the guardian misuses the minor's property or fails to act prudently, they may be held personally liable to compensate the minor. Example, if a guardian leases the minor's property at a low rate for personal benefit, they may be liable for the loss in rental income. B. Transactions without court permission are voidable. If the guardian sells or mortgages immovable property without court approval, the transaction is voidable at the minor's option upon attaining majority. C. Criminal liability. In case of fraud, embezzlement, or abuse, the guardian may also face criminal charges. 5. Guardianship and welfare of the minor. The paramount consideration in any guardianship matter is the minor's welfare, as per Section 13 of the Act. The court considers age, sex, and religion of the minor, preference of the child if they are of sufficient age, guardian's capacity to provide proper care, past conduct of the guardian, emotional and psychological needs of the minor. Case Rosie Jacob vs. Jacob A. Chakramakal, 1973. Supreme Court emphasized that the welfare of the child should prevail over legal rights of the parents. 6. Limitations on guardian's powers, Section 8. Under Section 8, a guardian must seek court permission before selling or gifting the minor's immovable property, mortgaging or leasing property beyond 5 years, entering into contracts involving significant obligations. Such restrictions are in place to protect the financial interests of the minor from being misused. 7. Removal of guardian. A guardian can be removed by the court under the following grounds: misuse or misappropriation of minor's property, failure in duty or misconduct, becoming of unsound mind, conviction for certain criminal offenses, acting against the welfare of the child. 8. Role of the court in guardianship. The court plays a watchdog role to ensure the guardian is acting appropriately. It may require submission of accounts, can intervene in case of complaints, may appoint a new guardian if needed. Conclusion. Guardianship under Hindu law is a sacred trust centered on the welfare, safety, and prosperity of the minor. Guardians hold significant powers, but these are balanced by strong responsibilities and legal checks. They are custodians of the minor's future and must act with integrity, prudence, and compassion. Understanding these rights and liabilities is essential not just for law students but for society at large, because when we protect children, we protect the future. In this series, I'll be covering important questions from each subject, semester-wise, explained in simple, structured, and student-friendly language. Do like and subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to check out the other videos on this channel as well. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.